I just finished playing Red Dead Redemption. The first one, not the second. I just want to sit here for a little bit, and we're going to talk about the game. So, what got me into the game was my brother bought the second one, and I watched him play for a little bit. It had me intrigued, and I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. I don't have $80 to spare right now, so I bought the first one, which is $10 on the Xbox store. And I'm just going to say right now that is hilariously underpriced, because Red Dead Redemption is a freaking masterpiece. I'm not even joking right now. I beat the game yesterday after playing for... Actually, I have it open right here. I played the game for 21 and a half hours, and I beat the game with 19 and a half hours, I believe. And this game, full spoilers by the way, was so much fun to play, and I loved every minute of it. It was so much fun. The characters were honestly some of the best and well-developed characters I've ever seen in a video game, and I've played a fair amount of video games. And the characters are really well developed. This is one of the few video games that I think could actually make a decent movie. Because Westerns were a thing that happened in the early 90s, and I feel like if Red Dead Redemption made a movie, it would be a pretty good movie. So, the characters were well developed, the story is easy to follow, it's not really convoluted, but it's still genuinely a good story. It's good, it's down to earth. The character you play as for the majority of the game, John Marston, he ran with a gang in his old days, he's done with that life, he doesn't want to be continuing it, but then he gets called back because of the government, and they're forcing him to kill everybody from his last gang. When the game starts, you only have the sense that you need to kill Bill Williamson. So, as John Marston, you go to Fort Mercer, where Bill Williamson is holed up, and then you try to talk him out of it, but he's still an outlaw, so you don't... obviously, he wouldn't be a very good outlaw if you listened to reason. So he shoots you, and then leaves you for dead outside of his fort. Luckily for you, a rancher by the name of Bonnie McFarlane comes along, saves you, pays for your medical, and then, to repay her, you stay at the ranch for a little while and help her out. So, it's simple. You know, you're trying to kill a guy, he kills you, you gotta go back and find and kill him again. So, it's genuinely very interesting to see the motivation behind John Marston. And the villain of this game truly isn't Bill Williamson or Dutch van der Linde, the leader of John's old gang. It's actually the government itself, and here's where we're getting into spoilers, because the government is colonizing the West, so they're trying to expand, meaning that they're taking out the Old West, and as the West is dying out, Dutch van der Linde is still clinging onto that old way. Later in the game, towards the end, not quite there yet, but close to it, Dutch says, you know, I can't do this, like, he couldn't fight it off anymore. So he throws himself off a cliff and commits suicide. So that's how Dutch van der Linde dies. Bill Williamson, you end up killing yourself down in Mexico, in Nuevo Paraiso, or something like that. I don't know where exactly you kill him, but I think it might be outside of Chupacabra, I don't know, but yeah. So, Bill Williamson, you end up killing yourself. There's another member of the game by the name of Javier Escuela, who you actually have a choice. You find him in El Presidio, so you have to end up either killing him yourself or turning him into Agent Edgar Ross, who is the man that's employing you. And the reason that you're working for this guy is that he took your wife Abigail and your son Jack and is holding them captive until you do everything that he says. So, you can understandably see there's a few cutscenes in the game after you complete, after you take in Javier Escuela, which is what I did. I didn't kill him. But after you take him in, and then you're talking to Edgar Ross in a cutscene, and John goes, I want to see my damn family. Where are they? I did what you asked. Give me my damn family back. And, he just doesn't. He doesn't do it. He says you're going to kill everybody from your old gang, or you're not going to get your family back. And that's really John's main motivation throughout the entirety of the story, is that he has to do everything that Ross says, otherwise his family is going to get murdered. Which is super dark, super grim. And I guess, this entire game is just sort of, it's really a dark game, The West is dying out. Your entire livelihood was dying out, John wants to just become a rancher because he doesn't want to be an outlaw in the Old West anymore, He's wanting to be a rancher, He doesn't want Jack, his son, to fall into the same life that he lived, He wants him to be better. He wants it to, he wants him to grow and become a rancher and, take over the farm. Which is incredibly noble, if you ask me. I mean, I think that's probably one of the best things you could do for a kid, is if you had a shitty early life, then don't make your kid have a shitty early life, or in general, just let him have a good life. So finally, towards the end of the game, you kill Dutch, or it looks like you kill Dutch, because Ross puts a bullet in him after he commits suicide, saying that it looks better on the report. But then you get sent home. You can go home to your ranch that's in Beecher's Hope. And I believe that everywhere in this game is a made-up place, except for maybe the places in Mexico. I don't know, but I don't think that there's a town called Armadillo in real states. So, I wouldn't know. I live in Canada, though. So, you get sent back to your home in Beecher's Hope, and you're just doing some mundane, you're a rancher now. You did everything the government asked. And they really haven't intervened. You do missions for Abigail, or you do missions with Jack, because, you don't do missions for a kid who's younger than you. You do missions with Uncle, who is the guy that was supposed to be taking care of your farm. And then, after you complete all of the Abigail missions, all of the Uncle missions, and all of the Jack missions, you get one more mission with Jack, which, it starts out completely regular. And I'm just going to lean back for a little bit. So it starts out completely regular. You go into a barn, you're talking to Jack, and you're just sort of, making small talk with him. You're talking to your kid, how he's doing a good job with his tools, how he's going to take over the ranch one day. And then Uncle ends up yelling for John, and then John and Jack both go out of the barn, and they're looking with Uncle, and Uncle says something about the lines of, it's not good, there's something on the horizon, look at it, you need to see this right now. So John takes it, and he looks, and he knows exactly what's going on. He knows exactly what's going down. You as the player probably have about as much idea as Uncle or Jack, because it really doesn't tell you. John just knows, though. So you know that something is up, because John tells Jack, go inside the house, tell me your mom, lock the doors, lock all the windows, stay inside the house, no matter what happens, do not leave the house. So Jack does as his father says, he goes into the house, but not before John says, Jack, come here. He hugs Jack, says, promise me you will not leave that house. Lock the doors, lock the windows, stay inside. So he hugs him and then tells him that, and Jack runs inside with his mom. So you and Uncle are left there to fend off the ranch from these attackers who are trying to shoot you and Uncle. So you end up fighting off the first wave, and then you get to, you run back to the house, you see Abigail in there, and Jack's holding a rifle now, and Abigail says, what's going on, what's happening? And then the second wave comes, cuts the cutscene down. Jack comes out with you this time, because he's trying to defend the house. So you shoot all of the second wave, and then Uncle takes a bullet. And he just sort of sits there incapacitated for a little bit, and as you and Jack finish off the rest of the enemies, and sorry, and so after you finish shooting all the enemies, you have a cutscene where you go and you're with Uncle in his last dying breath. So right there on the Marston Beecher Hope house porch, Uncle dies. In 1911. So then you and Jack defend from the last wave, or from the third, or no, there is no third wave. I'm so confused right now. You defend Jack and Abigail as they run to the barn from the third wave, and then you run to the barn with them, and there's no easy way to do the rest of this mission. It gets incredibly dark and incredibly depressing, and you tell them, no, I love you guys, you need to run, don't look back, don't come back for me, run. He pats the horse and tells them, get out, run now. Jack rides the horse with his mom out of Beecher's Hope. They're riding along the road. They're gone. John stays in the barn to create a distraction so they can get away. And he peeks through the barn doors and sees a ton of guys there. And by this point, you should know how many, or who it is that's attacking you. So, I'm full spoilers here now, is that Edgar Ross is the man that's hiding outside the barn. It was the government that was coming for you. So you sort of just peek through the barn a little bit, and then you close the door. John takes one more deep breath, pushes the door open, takes like 3 shots, and gets mowed down by about 3 dozen guys. John Marston died protecting his family so they could get away, while he stayed in the barn and created a distraction. So, with that said, the ending of this game was incredibly heart-wrenching, and it sort of just, ripped my heart out when I was playing it. I haven't been that emotional since the first time I saw Infinity War in April. So, coming from April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, I beat it yesterday, November 30th, December 1st. So that's like 8 months that I haven't been that emotional that I was because of a video game. And one might argue that the last time I got this emotional was over a movie, but, sometimes things really speak to you, or speak to me at least, and this game's ending was one of those times that really spoke to me. And I got it spoiled for me early on that John dies, but I as I was doing the last few missions of the game, that completely escaped my memory. So as I was doing this mission, I fully thought that John was just creating a distraction so that his family could get away. And then he got betrayed by none other than Edgar Ross. So, this game is so beautifully animated, and I forgot to mention, this game came out in 2010, 8 years ago that this game came out. I bought it for $10, and I got this amazing video game that is probably one of the best I've ever played. It's, there's a compelling story, intriguing characters, the animation in this game is breathtaking. And keep in mind, I'm stating this as if it were a game made today. Like, had it come out today, and I had just beaten it, this game would still have a very compelling story and very intriguing characters. The animation and the mocap and everything that went into this game was just breathtaking. You see the scenery, and as the end credits were rolling, you saw the everybody who worked on the location and, like, the scenery of the game, like, the background. And it was, like, 17 people that spent their days, weeks, months, maybe even years perfecting and looking at this scenery and making sure that it looked amazing. And it looks, as a game made from 2010, it looks genuinely realistic. You know, I was riding my horse in the game earlier today, and I just saw it, and I was just looking at everything in the game, and it's genuinely breathtaking and genuinely amazing. So, everything in this game is just, wow, everything that went into it. You know, you have to do all these missions, and you have to, one mission leads to you doing another, and, you know, it's just amazing. And you have, like, I guess you could define them as if this were a movie. You know, it has 3 acts. There's genuinely 3 acts to this game. You know, you have the first act where you first arrive in Armadillo, and you meet with the Marshal, and you meet with, you know, Bonnie McFarlane, and you're doing stuff for Bonnie on the side while you're also doing some missions with the Marshal, and you're taking out gangs, and you're sort of just taking stuff out. You know, you're doing stuff for the Marshal, you're doing stuff for Bonnie, and then you end up assaulting Fort Mercer with the Marshal and Nigel West Dickens, who's somebody that you come across. He's like a snake oil salesman, a guy called Irish, and a guy called Seth. And you also have the sheriff's deputies with you, or the marshal's deputies with you. So you guys take down Fort Mercer, only to find out that Bill Williamson, the guy that you raided Fort Mercer for, escaped to Mexico. He's long gone. So then with that, you take yourself and you go to Mexico, and you meet up with a guy by the name of Landon Ricketts. And Landon Ricketts ends up teaching you a few things about sharpshooter, and, you know, you kind of develop the third, or Deadeye there, which Deadeye is so cool. Deadeye, if you haven't played the game, which I've already gone into spoilers, so if you haven't played the game, Deadeye is a mode in the game where everything turns, time slows down so that it's easier for you to aim and shoot opponents, which was incredibly helpful in the last mission, which was called the Last Enemy That Shall Be Destroyed, which I thought was like you'd like destroy your old outlaw life. I was very wrong. But yeah, so the entire government goal of this game was to take out all of the Dutch Van der Linde gang, and they did that. So yeah, then you go to Mexico, where you inevitably get Bill Williamson and also Javier Escuela. So then you do that, and then you come back, and you're living your ranch life, and that's when the game ends. And it was genuinely saddening. It was gut-wrenching, that ending, because I didn't want that to end. And then when the final cutscene of the final mission plays, you see John Marston's grave, and it says John Marston, 1873 to 1911, beloved father and husband. And dude, that was it, man. You know, the waterworks were happening. I couldn't hold it back. As John got mowed down, the waterworks were happening. I was not holding it back. I was playing this game in my room right here in this chair by myself, so I was very okay with letting out my emotions. So I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. I cried, man. I genuinely, I haven't cried like that since Infinity War. It was so gut-wrenching. And then you see the grave, and then the camera sort of just pans itself over, and you get in frame John Marston, you know, 1873 to 1911, beloved father and husband, and then some quote I couldn't read. And then it also says Abigail Marston, 1877 to 1914. So I was like, what the heck, man? How did she die? So it gets genuinely, it's terrible. And the camera doesn't pan over again to say Jack Marston, you know, 18 whatever, was born to 19 whatever. He's still alive. So the camera you sort of just see a guy walk into frame, and then he turns around, and it's Jack Marston. So then you play as Jack Marston for the end game of this game. You play as Jack Marston for the end game of Red Dead Redemption. There is one final mission that's not actually a main story mission, but it's a stranger mission, which is strangers are the side missions that are in this game. So there's the stranger mission that Jack finds Edgar Ross and gets his revenge. And that was probably one of the most satisfying endings to a video game I've ever seen. And Red Dead Redemption is truly a masterpiece. And I genuinely love this game, and I'm still gonna play it more. Comment down below if you think I should play Undead Nightmare. I mean, I don't know if I even own it, but, like, there's an option for it in the game. So, I think I do, but, like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna stop talking. I've been rambling about this game for 20 minutes, probably about the same amount of time that I rambled about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, because that movie was trash, but this game was amazing. So, yeah. I think that's pretty much it, but, like, there's so much you can still do in this game. You know, there's races that you can go, like horse races, and there's still stranger missions, and, you know, you can just still, you can ride around on your horse, and you can gain more honor. People all the time will just, you know, get their store robbed, or get their horse stolen, or their cart stolen, or something, and then they're, like, it's still, there's a lot to do in this game, even after you beat it, especially with DLC. And then, upon beating this game, I know that I'm definitely going to be playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know when, but I'm going to be playing it. Maybe I'll play it 8 years late. I don't know. I played this game 8 years late, so I might play that one. But I think that's pretty much it for my rant about, or not rant, I'm not happy about this game, about my thoughts on Red Dead Redemption. If you guys agree with me, leave a comment down below, or if you want to tell me what you thought of the game way back when you played it, if you played it earlier than I did, then tell me your thoughts on the game. But I think that's pretty much it, guys, so yeah, you can like if you want, or dislike, depending, I don't know, if you liked the game, you can like, if you didn't, you can dislike, I don't know, man. Yeah, if you want, you can also subscribe, that's also an option. We're gonna kind of getting close to being close to 100 subscribers, so, like, that's cool, man, but, like, I don't know. So, my next showcase is probably going to be on a couple of Dark Knight figures that I've made. So, like, I made the Joker, and I'm working on finishing Batman right now, and I also made Harvey Dent. So if you guys want to see, or when that showcase comes out, I'll make sure to let you guys know. And after that, it'll probably be a showcase on Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka. I'm confirming right now that I will be making Ahsoka. I ordered her online. I ordered her on eBay, so it should be arriving relatively soon. So that might be the next showcase, or maybe the showcase after that, or after Dark Knight will be the original Avengers showcase, since I still have to do that. But rest assured, there will probably be 3 videos coming out this month, and I might do a Christmas or a New Year's video. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so I think that's it, guys. You can like, comment if you want, subscribe if you want. But yeah, I think that's it. Alright. Bye, guys.